Let's talk about what's happening in Bitcoin. What do you think is driving this momentum?
First of all, I'm worried that my staff's not going to let me back into the United States. It's gone from 45 to 47,000 since I've been out here, so they don't want me to come home.
Right.
but I think that by and large, this is again. It was an overselling of Bitcoin and other risk assets as a result of the Ukrainian war. I think this is just sort of a snapback and a normalization of where probably we would think Bitcoin could trade to fundamentally related to Bitcoin's wallet growth. If you look at Bitcoin today, according to Glassnode, there's probably 245 million wallets out there or accounts related to Bitcoin. When SkyBridge made its first Bitcoin investment, Dan, we were talking about 85 million wallets, and that was October, November of 2020. So just think of the spectacular growth of the Bitcoin network.
So why wallets as a catalyst? Do you see people using Bitcoin as a means of exchange in the future?
Yes. I mean, as wallets grow and the transactions on the Bitcoin network grow, I think people get more and more confidence in Bitcoin, the ledger of Bitcoin, the accounting of Bitcoin. And so somebody like Kathy Wood say to you, 1 billion wallets, Bitcoin could easily trade to $500,000 a coin.
Okay, but you're holding on to this call that we'll see Bitcoin 100,000 USD in the next 2 years, correct?
Yeah, well, listen, I got it wrong last year because I didn't anticipate the war or the elongation of COVID. But I do think that there's no reason why Bitcoin, given the way it's scaling globally, and it's very hard to get rid of. Remember, there's over 10% of Bitcoin's global transactions are done in China, despite the insistence of the Chinese government to remove Bitcoin, Bitcoin miners, banning Bitcoin. Bitcoin's sort of in the system, if you will. And it's something, because of the nature of its decentralization, makes it easy to use around the world.
Yeah, and also to evade sanctions in some cases as well. A lot of credibility concerns about Bitcoin,
yeah, I'm
right?
going to push back slightly on that because I think it's hard to, as Janet Yellen pointed out last week to Andrew Sorkin on our air, these wallets are pretty transparent. You know, Mike Morrell wrote a white paper about 18 months ago describing how Bitcoin, because of the way these wallets are set up and the transparency of the ledger, it's easy to find people. And of course, the Colonial Pipeline ransomware, they found those people. If you remember the $4.5 billion Bitcoin heist by the husband and wife team, the minute they went to go spend the Bitcoin, the Department of Justice was right on top of them. So I think it's become harder to use it to avoid sanctions. But having said that, I think I can understand why regulators and centralized governments don't like Bitcoin. You certainly can't have a Federal Reserve for Bitcoin, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And since there's only 21 million coins, they're not making any more coins. And we're going to go into a halving cycle, meaning that these coins are now 900 of them are being made, if you will, a day. By February of 2024, it's going down to 450. And so as that supply constrains, we've usually had a pretty big price appreciation.